Greetings, First Presbyterian Church family. And this message is for Thursday, June 29th. I'm recording on Wednesday. I am at the Bill Blackwood Park in Mesquite. Don't know if you've ever been here. I'm just a little bit north of US 80. In fact, I'll slowly pan that way. I'm sitting here in the pavilion because it is hot, y'all. I want to be in the shade. Okay, here I am focusing about as much as I can. See that traffic over there? That's US 80. And anyway, I'm here at this park, and I actually discovered it the other week through miscalculating a turn and having to loop around in town. Discovered this park, and I said, I need to come back here. I was looking for something else, but I said, I need to come back here. And it was nice. It is. I got a good breeze. I'm in the shade. I got a good breeze, so it's nice here. And but again, it's one of those surprises. No idea this one existed. I've been to several parks 2 and 3 times now. But anyway, here I am at the Bill Blackwood Park in north of US 80 in Mesquite. And I want to do a part 2 from last week. I spoke about Jim Elliot and referenced his wife Elizabeth Elliot. As I said, Jim Elliot, strong call to missions that he experienced, and ended up in Ecuador working with a tribe that the Quechua called the Auca, which means like basically savage. But really, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, the Waorani was the name that they would call themselves. He, with some other mission friends, had been working for a while to establish a relationship, thought it basically sent the signal, hey, we're safe, we can be trusted, and but ended up being speared to death. Well, his wife is working among the Quechua. They have a 10-month-old child, Valerie, and for 2 years that she's worked among the Quechua. 2 women of that tribe, the Waorani tribe, had fled and were living among the Quechua. One was named Dayuma, and she taught the language of the people to Elizabeth Elliot and to a sister of one of the slain missionaries, and that was Rachel Saint. And again, both Elliots have been trained in linguistics, but how to hear a language, learn the language, and put it down into writing. And that's what she did, and really was able to say, okay, this is the verbs and nouns and parts of speech, and past, present, future. She figured all of that out, listening, and really recorded it for the first time, listening. And so for 2 years, I believe they said, did that. And then the 2 women went back to the tribe, and basically for several years Elizabeth was able to live among them and begin to translate scripture into their language, along as she and her daughter Valerie and Rachel Saint. Elizabeth was given the tribal nickname of Kakari for woodpecker, and so she was and while there was able to speak the good news of Jesus Christ, and actually led to Christ the man who speared her husband to death. As she later said about forgiving, said that their tribe feared all outsiders and just interpreted everything in the worst possible way, in emotions typically, and they did not know better. She later said, I find it easier to forgive people who do not know better when there's some individuals who I thought, well, you knew better. They're actually the harder ones for me to forgive. And her husband has said, if I have to die for their salvation, I'm willing to do so. She wrote about his life in Shadow of the Almighty and Through Gates of Splendor. So, and I've read Shadow of the Almighty. So after several years there, she later went back to Quito and then to the United States. In 1969, she married a professor of theology at Gordon Conwell Seminary, Addison Leach, and I think he even became, I don't think it was like a dean, and had a happy marriage, but then he developed cancer and he died in the fall of 1973. And she became adjunct faculty at Gordon Conwell, and did that. Now, I've heard her speak about singleness because she had, come to the question, yes, I'm willing to be a single missionary if that be your will, Lord. And then, yes, Lord, you're leading me to Jim Elliot. So she took singleness as a gift and the idea of marriage as a gift. And eventually, and this can be hard for some people, but she could even try to see this next chapter of singleness as a gift. And then marriage again, single, okay, as a gift. All right, I'm a widow again. And there's a gentleman who started paying call on her. And she said, I was beginning to tell he was circling in for the kill. And that was Laura Scarin. And she said, I was about to say, I know where you're going with this, and I'm not going. Been there, done it twice. And then she said, well, maybe, then heard the Lord saying, well, maybe, have you ever thought I'm sending you another gift? And so they married in 1977. And in a book she wrote in 83, at that point, that's the longest she'd ever been married, was like 6 years. And he had said, he laughingly called himself the front runner. And she said, may he outrun me. She went on to have a ministry of teaching, of encouragement, of challenging people. Wrote a biography of Amy Carmichael, the missionary, and just a good way of how to express oneself. And again, did a radio ministry for many years. Last about 10 years, she struggled with dementia, and of course losing more of her memory. But her prayer had been that Lars would outrun her, and he did. She passed away in 2015, and her daughter Valerie, who was there, her daughter Valerie later married a gentleman and had numerous grandchildren, and she has a few humorous stories about that, and about even being a single mother at one time in life. But she's a woman of deep conviction and someone who's always deeply impressed me. And I was laughing to say she could out-preach about 90% of the preachers in the Presbyterian Church, but that's just my opinion. She definitely out-preached me. Two people you ought to know about, so to speak, is Jim and Elizabeth Elliot. And I'll continue a series, just short bios of Christian leaders, maybe past and, recent past and past. We'll do that until I'm off in North Carolina in July, and I'll take a break then. So I hope this finds you well, and have a great week. Bye.